All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Tuesday, March 26th, my girlfriend's birthday. Happy birthday, Paris. We got a 4-game NBA slate to dive into in today's video. Like we always do, we're going to go through each and every, all 4 of these NBA games. I'm going to give you my lean on the spread. I'll give you my lean on the total. We'll talk about any player props that I like within the game as well, but make sure you guys keep an eye on the pinned comment. That is where all of my final plays, so I'm actually rolling with myself. Those plays will live. Last night, I mean, a hell of a lot of work for a hell of a lot of nothing. Like, I would have been a millionaire last night if I could predict guys that just would not play. We had Cade, Wemby, Aaron Nesmith, and Jamal Murray in our final plays. They all get scratched from the game, so no harm, no foul there. Our picks that actually do go, we go 2-2, so nothing major there. Jaylen Brown misses a foul shot at the end of the game to prevent us from having a winning night, so I guess we got to chuckle at that. Nick Claxton crushes that rebound line. Kelly Olynyk for plus money. I'll take the cha-ching when I can get it here. Under 6.5 rebounds for plus 108, we'll take that. And then the Mavs Jazz under went literally exactly how I said, so that was kind of inspiring as well. But again, a lot of betting for a hell of a lot of nothing yesterday. But nonetheless, let's have ourselves a good Tuesday here. Only 4 games on the NBA slate, but we're gonna make something happen. I feel it. In terms of our ride of the day, bad news. Unfortunately, got to drop the womp womp. Midnight has Bradley Beal over 6.5 assists. It was for plus money. Bradley Beal finishes at 6. Kind of started off slow, made his way to the number, and then couldn't get one more. So the ride of the day does not come through, but Midnight did cash one for us. Guys, if you don't know what the ride of the day is, all you got to use is that hashtag ride of the day in the comments. Give me some absolute bangers of plays. I'm jumping on board with one comment, giving you a shout out in the next video, win or loss. Also shouting you out over on my Twitter at EvGuyBoston, posting tons of stuff over there. Make sure to follow me over there and over on Instagram. All my socials will be rotating right here. Posting additional player prop content and stuff over there, as well as YouTube Shorts, TikToks, Instagram Reels. Make sure you guys are following me elsewhere, not just on YouTube. But make sure you guys use that hashtag ride of the day in the comments, as we're looking for a new person to ride with as Midnight again. Unfortunately, Bradley Beal comes up just a little shy for us. But yeah, smash that like button, hit that like button. Let's jump into game number 1. We got 4 games. All pretty decent games. Yesterday we had a bunch of games. Didn't love the slate. This is actually a much better slate game to game, even though there's more, less games. We're started off with the Miami Heat taking on the Golden State Warriors. Heat getting a 1.5 here at home. The total is sitting at 218 in this one. In terms of my spread lean, I'm going to lean towards the home dog here, the Miami Heat plus the 1.5 points. Golden State, I do think as the season closes, maybe they kind of put their foot on the accelerator and make something happen, but this is a Heat team that, has been playing mad basketball. Golden State, you could say, has been playing mad basketball. Both teams 4-6, both straight up and against spread in their last 10. But what I'll say is this Heat's team defense has been there. The opponents are struggling to get to triple digits against them, and definitely struggling to get to 110 and beyond, right? And Golden State, the last good defenses that they've played have been losses. You look at their last 10 games, Minnesota loss, New York, not necessarily their defense firing on all cylinders, but a gritty team loss. Chicago, kind of same boat there, loss. The Golden State Warriors are winning games against Memphis. They beat the Lakers. They beat the Bucks in an up-tempo game. They kind of blew them out, right? Looking back at their recent games, San Antonio was in there. This is a team that, though I do believe the Golden State Warriors still have some fuel in the tank, they're not beating good teams. And not to say the Heat are necessarily a really good team, right? They are a playoff team, but they're that gritty, they're that sort of we're not going to let you beat us easily type team, which the Warriors have struggled with lately. So yeah, I don't mind the Heat here plus the 1.5 points. In terms of where the money is on this game, it looks like a lot of the percentage of the public is over on the Heat. So this probably is a public bet, which does it worry me? Yes, but sometimes the public is right. I just like the fact that they're getting points at home. In terms of a money line play too, plus 105 over on DK right now could have some value. Now the Heat are a little banged up, as we know. No Tyler Hero, no Duncan Robinson. Looks like Jaime Jaquez Jr. game time decision, as is Martin and Kevin Love. They get those guys back, it could be a little bit of a boost, but I wouldn't hold our breath, right? We've seen plenty of injuries on this Heat side of things, but Rozier, Butler, and Bam Adebayo should be able to match up with what Curry, Wiggins, and Kuminga have been as of late. So give me the Heat here, plus the points, potentially on the money line as well. The only negative is that it could be such a chalky square public play, right? Is it a trap? Does it look too good to be true? potentially. In terms of a total in this one, I have to lean towards the under, just due to the fact that I think the Heat control this game. If I was on the Warriors side, I'd be all over the over. Like, I think that those are the way that these two plays correlate. Warriors win, it's an over game. Heat win, they're going to play some good suppressive defense, and it is an under. So I'm going to lean towards the under in this spot as well. Now, in terms of player props, I have a couple that I wouldn't necessarily say are total trending plays. One of them is, one of them isn't, but I like the spot for Brandon Podziemski here, over 2.5 assists. He's been averaging nearly 6 potential assists over his last 10 games. Last time he played Miami, he had 6 assists on 12 potential assists, and they're allowing the 10th most assists on the season to the shooting guard position, so we do like to see that. We know he's going to get the run, which is great. He's kind of established himself as that 2 guard there with, Clay playing minutes and everything like that. I'm not saying he won't, but as a starting 2. So I do like him to get 3 assists tonight. And then on the Heat side of things, Nikola Jovic here, over 8.5 points plus assists. He's hit that in 7 of his last 10 games. Last time he played Golden State, which was the only game that he's played, 20 plus minutes. Actually, he played 19.5, but 20 minutes against them. He's been playing plenty of minutes as of late, right around that, I would say, 20 plus mark. We're lucky if we get that, but if you play 17 plus minutes, I do like this spot. Last time he played them, he had 11 points and 3 assists, so he covered this line with just points. Is he going to get the field goal attempts? Not necessarily, right? But that's why I'm throwing assists in there as well. Last 20 games here, he's getting 3 potential assists. If he can get us a couple of assists, we're looking at now obviously like a points line of 6.5, which is where it is, where his points line is. So I do like the spot for him. And Golden State allowing the 3rd most assists to the opposing power forwards on the season in their last 7 games here, the 4th most. So it hasn't really dropped much throughout the season. So 2 sort of, not typical guys. I mean, Brendan Podziemski's kind of carved himself out, but I don't think we've taken a Nikola Jovic player prop yet. But he's hit that again in 7 of his last 10, getting more minutes, getting the starts. I don't mind the spot for him. If Kevin Love plays or some of those other guys play, his minutes probably drop slightly, but this is going to be one where we want to wait out the injury report before we even place it finally anyways. Next up, we have the Bucks taking on the Lakers. Tons of injuries to note here. LeBron James is a game-time decision, but he's listed as doubtful. Anthony Davis listed as probable. Giannis is probable, and as is Chris Middleton. So obviously, we want to keep an eye on the injury report. Right now, LeBron isn't even listed as a starter here. So I'm assuming LeBron doesn't play, and assuming the other 3 do play, but how good am I at assuming guys are playing or not? Look at last night. We picked 4 guys that ended up not playing. So it is what it is. Keep an eye on the injury report. But we'll act like that's the case. LeBron's out, Anthony Davis is playing, Giannis and Middleton are going, okay? Even if LeBron plays, I don't mind the Bucks in this spot. I don't think I'd roll with them minus 8.5 if he was playing, but again, kind of assuming that he isn't playing here. I think this is going to be a Bucks team that, talk about a team that's coming into form and at least trying to come into form here. We took them against OKC in terms of a lean. They were the next pick to make a final play, and we didn't roll with it. We kind of pussed out, but they won 118-93. They're playing good basketball. 6-4 against the spread in their last 10. 6-4 straight up. They've won 6 of their last 10 against the Lakers here. The Lakers did catch them at the beginning of this month in LA. I think this is a spot for Milwaukee to be able to kind of get some revenge in this spot. So give me them minus the points. Again, I wouldn't touch that 8.5 for a couple reasons. If LeBron plays, I'm not touching that 8.5. I still think the Bucks win, but I think you get a better number than 8.5. I also, if Giannis is ruled out or Middleton ruled out, I think that number gets better as well. So this may be a wait and see type of a spot because I don't know how much it's going to go up if LeBron gets ruled out. He's already listed as doubtful, right? So we shall see, but I wouldn't touch that until we know the injuries because I do think that line could move. In terms of a total here, I do think something similar to how we saw the Bucks defensive intensity against OKC a couple nights back happens here. Like, the Bucks want to win games late down the stretch. They want to win big games and kind of show that, yeah, we're the 2 seed for a reason. Everyone's kind of ragged on us all year long, yada, yada, yada. They have to get that defensive edge and intensity going heading into the playoffs. So I think that's going to be their focus in some of these games as we close out the year. So I'll take the under here, assuming that the Bucks make it difficult for the Lakers to operate. The Bucks have been dropping, 115, 118. I think what they scored the big game against like Phoenix was like 135, 140, something like that. But other than that, like, they're winning games scoring that 115. So if they can score 115, and then I think that they're going to win by, 8-ish points, this should be an under type of a spot here. When it comes to player props, I got a couple that I like, actually. A few, and I'm not exactly sure how I want to play it yet, but I do think I want some Chris Middleton action. Yes, he's on the injury report, but I'll go through these. Again, keep an eye on the pinned comment to see what we roll with, because I do think that we could have some player prop action in this game, assuming he plays. Chris Middleton over 20.5 points plus assists. He's hit this in 8 of his last 10 games, 14 of his last 20 that he's played, 2 straight against the Lakers here. In his last 10 games here, averaging over 8 potential assists per game, which kind of leads me into also considering looking at his assists here as well. He had 10 assists last game, but his lines jumped up to 5.5. If this was 4.5, I'd probably be all over it. But again, that's might be why we include points plus assists. And you might be thinking, okay, well, he played some games without Giannis and blah, blah, blah. On the season here, games that he's played with Giannis and with Damian Lillard, actually in his last 20, he's hitting 15. So those guys being on the floor benefit him, because we're talking points and assists, right? Like, he can pass to those guys. So I don't mind taking a peek here at Middleton. I also really don't mind looking at his over 1.5 3-pointers. I think that this is a good spot. You're not going to get the volume that you've had from Middleton in years past here, but against the Lakers, you know, they're a team that is not really covering the perimeter all that well. I mean, it's not terrible, but I think that he could get some looks as they really try to focus on covering the basket and covering that mid-range, which he also likes as well. But they're going to be focused on Dame and Giannis, right? Which could lead to some kickouts for Chris Middleton, as well as Brook Lopez. I like his over 1.5 3-pointers made. He's hit that once this season against the Lakers. They've only played him once, and the Lakers allowing the most 3-pointers made to opposing centers. And you're getting decent odds on it right now. PrizePicks actually has some great odds in terms of, you know, they're offering it at normal, whereas it's kind of like a juiced play on other books, so it could be a PrizePicks play. But yeah, give me Brook Lopez over 1.5 3-pointers made as well. And then on the Lakers side of things, I guess something that I would consider here, D'Angelo Russell dropped 44 against Milwaukee last time out. He's going to shoot tons of threes from above the break. Milwaukee really, really struggling with above the break threes. I don't love his 3.5 threes made. I mean, it is plus money, but that's still asking for a lot of threes. So I could consider something like his points or points and assist line. His points line at 19.5 without LeBron on the floor. Say LeBron doesn't play, and we want to filter this too. I guess we'll say D'Angelo Russell on the season without LeBron. He's only hitting 33% of games, so LeBron definitely benefits him. But again, you can't ignore 44 points last time against the Bucks. So something I would consider, but I definitely like those Bucks player props a little bit more. Speaking of player props, before we do jump into the last 2 games of today's slate, I want to talk to you guys about Sleeper. Make sure to go check it out. If you like player props and you like making some money, Sleeper's a really cool way to do it. All you have to do is combine 2 or more player props into a slip over on their app, and you can win. The more you get right, the more you get paid out. I don't have to explain that to you, right? And all you have to do is use the link in the pinned comment. You'll get this free Sabonis square if you sign up today, as well as 100% of your first deposit matched. I believe they're still matching up to $500, which is absolutely absurd. So if you guys do want to check it out, go throw some money in over on Sleeper. They will double it. You'll have a new account balance of double whatever you put in. It's literally free money, and you can use that to play with. I love Sleeper. If you guys are following me on Instagram at evpicks with a Z, on TikTok, or just looking at the YouTube shorts we post here on the channel, you know that I hammer Sleeper picks almost every single day, because I love that they have sort of, I guess, dynamic payouts. Like, each and every pick you throw in does not have a standard payout structure. Like, it's unique, which makes them unique, which is why I like Sleeper. So go check it out, guys. If you're sleeping on Sleeper, it's time to wake up. Go check it out. That link is in the pinned comment. You get the Sabonis square and your deposit matched. Absolute no-brainer. Go check it out. Let's go ahead and jump back into these last 2 games. Next up, we have the Pelicans hosting the Thunder here. Pelicans and Thunder both playing really good basketball. In this one, Pelicans getting 2 points at home, total at 223. Like I said, both playing good basketball. Pelicans 8-2 in their last 10. Oklahoma City just lost to the Bucks. They're 7-3 in their last 10. I think OKC bounces back in this spot. Lou Dort is probable. Brandon Ingram, I believe, is still injured for the Pelicans. But even with Ingram, I think I'd lean towards OKC in this spot. I don't want to get too down on them just because of a loss. And though, I mean, yeah, we can be honest that we're looking at a Pelicans team that is playing great basketball. Like, this is an OKC team that should be able to outrun them, play well. Like last time they played 107-83. I believe the Pelicans, I don't have it up, but I think the Pelicans won their first bout, and that was in OKC. But last time they played New Orleans, which is weird, the away team won, which was OKC. I just think that OKC has a bounce back spot here. like this Pelicans team, some of their wins have been Portland, an injured Philly team, Toronto, Detroit, whereas OKC has some decent teams in there, Miami, Milwaukee, Dallas. Like, yeah, it's neither one of them playing a terribly hard schedule, but I just think it's a bounce back spot, and I'm trusting the team that I do truly believe is better. And in terms of like where I think the edge could be set is OKC outrunning and out-tempoing and outpacing New Orleans. New Orleans, if they're going to beat them right now, it's going to be to run on them. We saw it against Orlando. Orlando beat them by scoring a bunch of points. If you can get to that like 115 mark, like you can beat New Orleans. And the Thunder, in their last few games here have been getting to that. They only scored 93 against Milwaukee, but that was way more of an anomaly of anything, right? So if they can score a bunch of points, I think the Pelicans have a tough time sort of keeping up. And kind of on that note, bunch of points, right? Give me the over in this spot as well. I do think that this is it should be at least, right, the game plan of OKC to say, okay, we're not going to win this one defensively. We're just not. Like, the Pelicans, their defense is playing so well right now, and I'm not really knocking OKC's defense, but if this becomes a defensive game, then we're probably looking at a good, Pelicans win in a sense. So I like OKC, the over, and I also don't mind OKC's over 109.5 right now. Decent value over on MGM. Like, I think that OKC drops 110 today. Call me crazy, but that's how many points I see them scoring. In terms of player props here, one that I really like, and we're still kind of going to dig into this game throughout the day, but looking at Josh Giddey, over 3.5 assists. He's hit this in 6 straight games against New Orleans, in which he's averaged 8 potential assists over, so I do like that. Cut that in half, that's 4. Should hit the over there. He's hit in 60% of his last 20 and 8 of his last 10 games here, averaging 7 potential assists over that stretch. So I do like this spot. The Pelicans allowing plenty of assists to the opposing shooting guard position as well, the 5th most on the season. Then when we look at it from a last 7 perspective, they're in the top 10. So he should be able to go out there and get us 4 assists. And like with a guy like Giddey, whose usage has actually been pretty good as of late, like with 3.5, we're looking for 1 assist a quarter. Like, he gets 2 assists in a quarter. We're ahead of schedule. I like this spot. This definitely has a chance to be a final play. In fact, all 4 of the plays, like OKC minus the points, the over, the team total, and Giddey have a strong chance of being a final play. But you know what, guys? You can always fade me. Sometimes when I'm feeling this confident about some game, I could be way off. But nonetheless, I like this game. I like this spot. I think it's going to be a good one. Speaking of fade me, guys, one last little blurb before we do get into the last game here. If you guys want to check out the shop over on fademe.store and you do want to support what we're doing here and get some great merch at the same time, head over to fademe.store. We got a bunch of new stuff. This hockey jersey is something that just released yesterday. It's super, super cool. We got the Money Gun collection, which I believe I have the Money Gun hat on right now. Absolutely fire embroidered. And we sell everything at a really manageable price. Like, we're not trying to make a shitload of money with this brand. I really want it to be for the people, and it's such a fun thing to get behind. We spend a lot of time on each and every design. If you guys do want to check it out, that's going to be fademe.store. I'll also put that in the pinned comment for your convenience. Go check it out, fademe.store. Support what we're doing here, support me, and pick up some great merch at the same time. Now, let's get to the last game of the slate. All right, Sacramento taking on Dallas here. I'll tell you what, both these teams are on back-to-back, so that's definitely worth noting. Dallas has won 8 of their last 10 games. Sacramento's won 7 of their last 10. Dallas, in no-rest situations, they've won 7, or they've covered, actually, in 73% of games. Sacramento, just 33%. So if it comes down to that trend there, Dallas should have the upper edge here. Last time these two teams played, it was in Dallas, and Sacramento won. And in fact, the last 2 times they've played, Sacramento has won in Dallas. Now we're in Sacramento. I think I have to lean towards Dallas just due to the fact that both the games that we've played in Dallas this year, Sacramento's won, and won pretty substantially. 129 to 113, that was the bigger victory. And then 122, 115, Sacramento covered in as well. Dallas is playing good enough basketball, and both teams are on back-to-backs for me to be able to say, okay, Dallas actually gets 1 in the season series, right? So I'll lean towards Dallas, but if you're on the Sacramento side of things, like, I don't think that I would try and convince you otherwise. We're sitting at a bar, the game's ready to start. You're like, I'm on Sacramento. I'd zip it and say, yeah, probably bet Dallas, but I hear you, because these are 2 teams that should, on paper, match up fairly well. Like Dallas playing better defense and scoring better in terms of points per game here, but Sacramento should win the points in the paint battle, should win the rebound battle and the 3 battle. So do you want the all-around efficient team, or do you want the team that has those sort of like big big factors, right? Points in the paint, rebounding, and threes. Like Sacramento's been better as of late. So definitely sort of you could pick either team here, you know, and I'm on Dallas. In terms of the total, 234, I'm going to lean towards the over. We saw Dallas last night in that game against Utah. We sniffed that out really quickly, that under, and I love that we made it a final play. Sacramento, another low-scoring game last night for them, but then this total jumps up to 234, and we haven't seen, I think we've only seen like one or two in the last 8 games for Sacramento of over 230. There aren't back-to-backs here. I do think that this could be a spot in which we have, you know, tired legs and tired defense, and Dallas can kind of, you know, move the pace and up the pace, which Sacramento should be there for. Both these teams decent in transition, terrible in defensive transition. Give me the over in this spot. When it comes to player props, you guys are going to hate it, but nothing jumps off the page to me. I would consider a De'Aaron Fox over 4.5 rebounds. He's averaging 10 rebound chances over his last 10 games here. He's hit this in 8 of his last 10, and the 2 that he hasn't hit it in, he landed at 4. So he's sniffing right around the mark, even if he doesn't hit it. So I would lean towards that, but that's kind of the only thing that really jumps off the page here. And I do like the fact that, you know, if we have a high-scoring, up-tempo game, plenty of misses, plenty more shots, he could grab some rebounds here. But guys, it's going to wrap it up for today's show. Hope you guys did enjoy. One last shout out to Paris, my lovely girlfriend. Happy birthday to you. Hope we do have a good NBA night tonight. We swept 2 nights ago, only to follow it up with what is such a weird NBA night last night with all of the injuries. I mean, if we sure know how to pick them, boys. But nonetheless, I like the spots tonight. I think we have 4 pretty good games on, so this should be good NBA watching, even though I'll probably be out to a nice fancy dinner, not watching all the games as I'd like to. But nonetheless, hopefully we do have a good betting night. Hopefully, guys, you do as well. But we'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.